record a few sentences and words in our microphones, and later we will try to do a capsule using them and use it in our radio show. We will also send it to you so you can listen to it. Let's hope it works out. So let's start with the beginning. You can now hear our symphony. I don't know if that's a word in English, but sorry, Julieta.
Yeah.
This is how.
Sorry.
Like this.
Okay.
Every radio show.
La radio comunitaria del Poblasec.
Conectando con su gente.
Okay, so I thought this was the best way to start today. Radioactives is a community radio. I guess you've read it in your programs, but is any of you familiar with what community radios are, or have you been in contact? I'm seeing some people nodding, so others don't, but that's great. It means we have something to teach you today. So we are a community radio born in 2016 and strongly linked to this neighborhood, El Poble Sec, where I believe you will be staying. That's a great choice. And we have here our neighborhood flag because we are very proud of the neighborhood, as you have probably seen in the streets. Okay, community radio is a non-profit radio, obviously born within a community, and with the main goal of empowering the community through the access to communication. So reaching a wide audience or explaining the latest news as other radios do is not our goal at all. We are not professional journalists either. But community radios give great importance to a couple of things, basically. One is empowering the community as media makers, and the second one is promoting key values. For us, those key values are democracy, the respect to diversity, feminism, and also an economy that's solidary, social, and sustainable. So for us, these are the two main reasons. And, well, you might be thinking, how did you start this radio? Well, it started from a radio workshop in this neighborhood with two other cultural associations. This was back in 2016. And right now we are an association that works autonomously. And we basically produce radio shows about social and cultural topics related to the neighborhood and that feel relevant to us. And let me seize this opportunity to present you our dream team, let's call them. We have our president, Juan Carlos, who's back there probably hiding, the treasurer, and our secretary. They have been in the team for a long time and they are really helpful to us. But right now we are a big bunch. There's 16 of us, and I must say this is a sweet moment. The team has not always been that big, but this allows us to participate in many projects like this one. So with our very modest radio station, as you can imagine being here, we propose a meeting place that's open to all neighbors, no matter their age or their background and professions, where we create together radio shows, as I mentioned. In case you were wondering, politics are on the table because we didn't really conceive a relevant communicative space for the community if we ignored politics. And Radioactives also promotes the sense of belonging to this neighborhood, and it also encourages the active participation of its people. And let us be proud for a second. We think that this allowed us to achieve this award a few years back as an innovative project that serves the community. And we also have to say that we are greatly supported by the community plan. This is, probably you don't know it because you don't live in Barcelona, but this is a plan linked to the city council, to say it the easiest way possible, and they bring us together with like-minded entities also from El Poble Sec. So this is helpful too. And to sum up this first part, Radioactives, as any community radio should, is open to everyone because we believe that everyone has something to contribute. All of us 16 contribute something to the team, but we also think that Radioactives can be a gift to anyone who knows it. And you may be thinking, okay, you do radio shows, but what else do you do? How do you do it? So, Julieta,
Yeah.
this is your part.
Okay, well, I stay here. Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
it's okay, it's okay. Okay, well, I'm a bit nervous, so I apologize for my English. I will try to do my best, but if you don't understand anything, please let me know. So, this is who we are, and this is what we do. Our main activity, let's say, is the recording of a podcast. It's not a live broadcast, but it has the structure of a live program. Since we started in 2016, we've already recorded 155 programs, so we are really proud of this number. We do our podcast two times a month. We gather here every Monday at la Bibliomusicineteca, and we dedicate one Monday to organize the program, and the next one, yeah, to record it. It's okay. Microphone. Okay. It's an 1 hour podcast, and in this hour we approach to different topics related to our neighborhood, El Poble Sec. For example, we talk about social or cultural projects taking place here in the neighborhood. We talk about news that affects people from the neighborhood, for example, urbanistic projects or housing problems. As Miriam said, we express our opinion if we think we have to do it in these matters, because we think it's important to take a position in our community life, basically. And we also make interviews with people from the neighborhood, with artists, musicians, people involved in different community projects, so we are very open to this. And regarding the way we think the content of our programs, it's important to say that we have some general guidelines that we try to respect. First of all, we try to maintain a gender perspective. We aim to use a non-sexist language, and we try to include diversity in different ways, for example, by including the participation of vulnerable groups in our programs. I think it's you.
We have also created and produced 2 radio dramas. We are also very proud of them. I don't know if you are familiar with radio dramas, but basically it's a representation of a fictional piece using only voices and maybe some extra sounds. And they are a very powerful tool, at least that's been our experience. We have used them to show to our listeners experiences that our neighbors have lived. For example, the first one showed or tried to explain how the neighborhood had changed over the years, how its people, the customs, the habits, the stores, through the eyes of our main character, a little girl, who chapter by chapter was older. So she was our character to explain and explore the changes in the neighborhood. And the second one tried to show how hard life can be for those neighbors who experience racism or are even kicked out of their homes due to eviction. This one was harder. But the nice thing about these radio dramas is that the scripts came up through sessions between our president, who is very creative, and the rest of the team, and people from the neighborhood who wanted to share their experiences. So after these conversations, which are a community activity by itself, we created these scripts. So we are proud of having used this tool as a way of showing hard realities in the neighborhood. Well, we believe that radio dramas are like a perfect representation of what Radioactives tries to be. We try to be a speaker of relevant stories that happen to those close to us and that we should know about and we should care about. but it's also a space, a cross-generational space to teach each other. For example, in those conversations that led to the scripts, we had very old neighbors with kids who were interacting and sharing their experiences. So we think this is like the perfect community experience. But we do some other things, Julieta.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
would be a bit hard with the microphone up and down.
Okay. Well, what else do we do? Sometimes we go out from the streets to the streets, and we participate in different events in our neighborhood. For example, a few weeks ago, we participated in, I will say this in Catalan, la Fira d'Economia Social, Solidària i Sostenible del Poble Sec. This is a neighborhood event where a lot of associations participate and show people here what they do. We think these are great opportunities for us to spend some time with other associations like ours that share our values, and to give them the chance to explain to the neighborhood what they have been doing over the year. And obviously we have to say that we have a great time doing these outdoor programs, because in the streets we get the chance to see our neighbors and to talk to them and to listen to them, so these are really important programs for us. This year we also participated in another event called Memorias de las Luitas per l'Habitatge. This was part of a project from the City Hall that had the purpose of recovering the memory of the people who fought for the defense of the right of housing in the district. And during the recording of this program, we talked with people involved in these struggles, as you can see, and they were able to share their experience. It was very nice. We really liked doing this program. And besides, we thought this was a great opportunity to give some visibility to the topic of housing, which is a problem that affects not only our district, but the whole city of Barcelona. So this was also a very nice experience for us. And well, these are some examples of what we do that we think that summarize a bit our spirit and what we want to do, our purpose. What else? Okay.
I left her alone doing
Yeah.
everything.
So, this is Esther. How do we organize to do all these things? We will try to summarize this. First of all, as you can see, we don't have a space of our own. But we are very, very grateful to La Bibliomusicineteca that let us be here every Monday. However, we do have our equipment that we were able to buy during these years from little incomes that we received during these years, and well, we take this with very care, and we are very proud of our equipment. And regarding our organization, we have an assembleary model, so we don't have fixed roles for the programs, but we have many roles. So we rotate these roles because we think everyone should have the opportunity and the chance to experience and to practice every task that we do. So which are these roles? Basically, we have the production. Before the program, we have to organize everything. Then we have the role of the host or the presenter of the podcast, the one who leads the interview in case we have an interview. And we also have some sections that, of opinion or cultural agenda, etc., that we also rotate. And we also have a very important role, that is the technician. Today we have Alejandro, sometimes we have Esther or any other of the team. This is the person in charge of recording the program and make all the edition. That's a very hard part of our job. And when the edition is ready, we publish our podcast in our website, and we share it on our social media channels. In this sense, it's important to say that we all learn by doing. This means we are not professionals, as Miriam said before. We come from different backgrounds, but we all try to put our personal knowledge for the purpose of the group and try to learn together. In fact, we have periodical training sessions where we try to teach each other what we know. And finally, I would like to say that every decision regarding our programs is decided horizontally. We have an assembly model, so everyone has a voice and can make their opinion. And we really like to work that way, and it's the way we want to keep working in the future. Oh, what happened?
Sí, dale un poquito para que se...
Yeah? Okay.
Okay, so after everything we've said, you might be thinking, but why do you really do all of this? Why do you spend Saturdays outside on the neighborhood fair, and do you meet every Monday to do your radio show? Well, for us it's because we have two main goals, and we think they are really important, so we work hard towards those. The first one is that we try to be a speaker for our neighborhood. So we are a media that welcomes basically everyone who feels connected to El Poble Sec. We welcome associations, social and cultural projects, but also artists or individuals who have something to share. Obviously, we are very careful when choosing what sort of entities or projects we want to broadcast. Discussions and debates are always welcome in Radioactius, but we do try to choose projects who have the same core values as we do, because for us this is like a red line we cannot cross. So as I mentioned at the beginning, but I like to mention it again, for us these key values are feminism, are the respect to diversity, democracy, but also trying to fight for a more social, solidary, and sustainable economy. So this is a little piece of a newspaper that we have chosen. I guess most of you don't speak Catalan, or maybe it's not even readable from that far, but trust my translation. This says Radioactius, 1 year being the mirror of the neighborhood. And we chose it because we are very proud of how it describes us. But I mentioned we have two goals. So the second one is that we want to empower our community. I know this word is very used, but I think it's the best one to describe it. So as I mentioned, we are a group born within the community where everyone is welcome to learn about communicating and about the radio world, and to teach each other, as Julieta mentioned. And as we said, we really enjoy those times when we get to go outside and spend time with our neighbors and projects that follow the same ideas that we do. And in those moments, we feel very proud of living in a neighborhood that's actually full of brave projects. I guess it's not always like that, but El Poble Sec has many projects who try to challenge some things that are deeply rooted to our society right now, such as crazy consumption, individualism, or even days spent on your social media instead of spent with those in your community, in your family, or wherever you want to choose. So we believe that working towards these two goals is what let us achieve the mentioned awards. You can see we are proud. And we also want to share a clear message with you and maybe inspire some of you. Even with this very modest radio station, we believe that we have a powerful tool to do small changes locally to promote empowerment locally. So I hope this might inspire some of you to create something of your own. And as a personal note, I didn't say it out loud, but I said it to my colleagues. I was very nervous today. But for me, Radioactius is actually the opportunity to embrace challenges like this one, being with you today, which we are normally together with our microphones speaking Spanish or Catalan. We don't generally get 20 guests or speaking English. But that's the great example because it shows that Radioactius has empowered me in being here today. And I'm sure Julieta also feels empowered by this.
I'm very empowered. I'm very... was great. Yeah, I totally agree with Miriam. In my personal experience, very briefly, I've lived in Poblesec for 5 years, but actually I'm originally from Argentina, so for me, being part of Radioactives was the opportunity to get to know people from a new neighborhood, to participate in different activities, and well, sometimes when you come from a different country or a different culture, this is not easy. But I have to say that Radioactives made me feel from the very beginning that this was a safe space, that where we all have fun, we all learn, and we try to be confident about ourselves and to learn every day. So, okay, well, so far we've explained the better part of Radioactives, but we also face some challenges, as you can imagine. And we want to share this with you because we think that this is also part of leading a community project like ours. So which are our main challenges? Well, one, we are trying to get some financing that allows us to renovate a bit our equipment. We would like, for example, to buy new microphones, like this one. Two, we also have some challenges regarding the way we organize as a team, as an association, because as we said, we work very horizontally, but sometimes we face some problems have some difficulties. For example, when we want to ask for a subsidy, we find a lot of bureaucracy and a lot of paperwork, and we want to find a way to deal with this that's better or more effective for us. Third, we would also like to continue with our internal training. We are very happy because we had some recent incorporations to the team this year. So we think that we should do this more often, this training between ourselves. Four, this is very obvious, but we want to keep giving visibility to the relevant topics in our neighborhood, the Poblesec. And finally, this is like our biggest dream, we would love to have our own studio radio someday, and who knows, maybe we will achieve this in the future.
Someday.
But we are very happy here at La Bibliomusica also. So I think that with this, we finish our part of the presentation.
Yeah.
But if you have any questions regarding what we said, now is the moment. And we want to listen to your opinions or questions or whatever you want to share. We have another microphone if anyone. Yeah.
Thank you. You did so well.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
That's the best question.
So you were awesome, but I do have
Thank
a
you.
really like a very informative question. So you're the mirror of the neighborhood, right? How many voices are silent? Like they don't agree with the core values. What do you think? Like, how does the neighborhood mirror like whose voices are not here? Is there a lot of these people?
Probably.
Probably.
But I mean, that's a very good question actually. I'm sure that we are not the mirror of every
Neighbor.
person, entity, or yeah, I'm sure. And I think this is because we strongly feel that there's these core values that we just cannot surpass. So for us, this is the key. Obviously, when we choose interviewees or entities, it's not that we need someone who is fully aligned to what we think, and debate is okay, and sometimes we have sections who try to boost debate, but I'm sure that there's probably many people who does not really agree with this social, solidary and sustainable economy challenge.
Yes, we are lucky. I think that we are lucky that Poblesec has a lot of community life. There are a lot of associations, many people involved in projects. So that's a nice feeling, and you feel like more like sure or more empowered to do these things because you see that there are many people that have the same values or looks in the same way. But I'm sure that there are people who will try to maybe change their opinion. No, this is our what we intend to do, to say our message and reach as much people as we can. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, we all work with young people, so I think most of us would be interested in knowing if you have any young people involved in the radio making, and if so, how do you attract them, how do you keep them motivated, etc. And if there are some kind of challenges, it would be also interesting to hear about that.
The youngest one has actually joined us like
2
months back.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's 15.
Yeah, he's not here today.
He's not here today.
Maybe if other members of Radioactive want to give an answer, they are in the back, but I see that they are like this. You can also answer the questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
He joined a couple of months back. Actually, the best way for us to find new participants
It's going out.
is when we are in these fairs. We have obviously our flyers and our setup trying to be very attractive, and that's the occasion where many more people reach us. And this
Yes, it's a little job of trying to see someone that is looking at the microphones, and you approach and you can invite them. And do you like the radio? You don't have to be professional. You just want. If you want to have fun and to learn a bit about radio, you can participate. So.
And Pau, who is this 15-year-old, reached us in a fair. He was with his mother, very interested in the radio world. And obviously we have there Isabella, who welcomes always everyone. And she made sure that he wanted to try it.
Yeah.
And I think it's obviously challenged because just like us today, it's not easy for him as a very young person.
But for example, he likes sports, so he decided that he wanted to talk about sports in the program, and he already made like 2 or 3 sections. And he make a deep job of investigating the teams or the sports teams here in the neighborhood. And he prepared a section explaining things about the sports here in Poblesec. Maybe sometimes he can do an interview. So that's a way of making people know.
And it's great because the 15, I think that we don't really like sports.
We never talk about sports.
We avoided that topic because we just didn't really care. So it's great that when you have somebody new and the program is not a fixed thing, we add and take things out every week. So he had the space and he thought he could do a section of sports, and he did really well. So it's not easy, obviously, to attract younger people when the group is maybe not that young. But I think it's been in just a few months, it's been also very empowering for him, for what we've seen. And I think that Nuria.
Yes, Nuria. The microphone.
No sé, very far.
Sorry, because my English is awful, but I will try to explain something. We haven't any child in our usually programs, but every day, every year, we have some podcasts. We interview child with their projects in the school, with projects like Maleta del Cinema. There's audiovisual projects, or with Aula Ambiental, with the economy, to recyclate, or something projects that we have in neighborhood. So because my English is not good.
Yeah, but that's a good point.
We work with schools sometimes, we went to schools to record some things.
And next month we have another problem with the child who have difficulty.
Learning difficulty, maybe?
Yes, bueno, discapacidad intelectual.
Yeah, so that's true. We've been like to schools where they welcomed us to do like a radio show with the kids in the school about I don't know how to say it in English, the transition to a more
sustainable
world.
model.
We were also in one of the neighborhood squares one Saturday with our setup, and all the kids that generally play in the square, well, those who wanted could come with their parents and do microphones with us and then say some words in the microphones.
Yeah, that was fun.
I think that's a very nice way of trying to show what radio is to the little kids. Maybe don't have a radio ever in their lives.
Yeah.
Miriam and Julia, I'm very impressed by what you're doing, so I would like to know more. You've been working since 2016 and you've been recording more than 116 programs.
Yeah.
And that's a very good way to know about the trends in the community. How do they change year after year? So the needs, the issues, the topics. So what would you say that are the most common trends, topics and needs that appear yearly?
I think that housing is a big problem in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Housing is okay in English, housing,
Yeah.
vivienda, yeah?
Yeah.
Because in the whole Barcelona, but in Poblesec in particular, there has been a lot of desahucios, evictions, and that's a big problem of the neighborhood. Yeah, and I don't know if it has changed over the years, but a few years ago it was a big problem.
It hasn't improved, that for sure.
Yeah, in fact, I still wasn't in the project, but I think that part of the team went to do a live program on a day that there was an eviction to try to support the situation. This is like a permanent problem of the neighborhood.
And I would say that a very recurrent topic that every year is more present is this: how as a neighborhood can we transition to being more sustainable? And the community is really active in that sense, also because there are some projects like this Aula Ambiental and some entities who work in schools, in the squares, everywhere they can, to open this debate about, as a neighborhood, let's look at how much electricity do you consume, why, the cost, and this is a topic that I feel that every year is more present, and obviously everybody's worried about it.
Yeah, and we are very lucky that we are next to Montjuïc, this big
little mountain.
When Poblesec finishes, the start is Montjuïc. You should do, if you didn't, you should go for a walk. It's a park, a big park, and children in the neighborhood do a lot of, they're very involved with this environment where we live. So I think that's
I think that's one of the major topics year by year.
And basically,
I don't know.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to say, first of all, congratulations. I think it's a really good project that you're having, and I think globally, community radios are so important in many places of the world. I didn't know how important it could be here. I guess I had some wrong assumptions about what happens in Barcelona, and you're giving a great, you're doing great. So I guess I had just two quick questions. One about funding. So you said you have struggles with funding. So how do you currently sustain yourself? And then the other one is just about the demographics of your audience. So I think, like you said, you're open for everyone, which is great. But then I guess programmatic wise is maybe a bit challenging, because then how do you create content that's relevant for everyone? Which is probably impossible. So then do you know, or do you do any analytics on who is the type of people that are mostly listening to you, or do you maybe, I don't know, do one episode for this kind of people and then another one for youth and so on, or how do you create your design your content maybe?
So funding is challenging, as Julieta said. Basically, we don't have a regular source of income. That's the main problem. Obviously, we are all volunteers here because we enjoy being here, but we do need some equipment that needs to be renovated. We finance these things by participating in those and we buy our urgent needs, let's say.
Basically that's the way, But it's a big challenge, definitely,
Also we've tried to apply to subsidies.
From the city hall, maybe, but it's, it takes a lot of time, obviously, and we are volunteers, and sometimes, well, you have to choose where to dedicate your time or to prepare the program. But we are trying. Now that we are a bigger team, we are trying to have like someone who gets all the information about this project and gets all of his attention in this. Yeah, we're trying to do this.
And the second question was about our demographics.
That's a good one. I think we should do a deeper job of knowing, because honestly, we know, because we sometimes receive opinions from people, but we never made like a marketing research to know the age or the. We do see the visits or the reproductions that we get, but we don't go much far.
No, not really.
We receive sometimes messages or people in the las tiendas and
in the store.
And sometimes they say, "Oh, I listen to the program," or it's I don't know.
Obviously, the topics, it's impossible to make it interesting to
for
everyone.
Yeah.
I imagine that the youngest of the neighborhood maybe do not feel still so connected to these community issues.
No.
But what we do is we really make an effort to include very different people and entities. All of us try to propose. So there's this novel writer living here who has just published something. Many times La Bibliomusic-Cineteca also lets us know, well, I know this project, it sounds interesting. So we try to have a very, very diverse content and people.
Yeah.
So probably some shows are interesting to one and the others for the rest, but we don't have a deep analysis actually.
We should do this.
Yeah.
First I would just like to say that I also come from a community radio, so I find it really cool what you're doing. I wonder, have you ever cooperated with other radios? So for instance, when looking for studio spaces or something like that, because at least like back home, our experience with that is that, so the radio I work at is pretty old, and we have the fortune that we actually have office spaces and studios, and then in the local, like other local community radios, like we help them with that. So I wonder if there's such a network around here that you could maybe use, or if not, what's the challenge?
Yeah, in fact, last year, well, we had like a collaboration with other radio from the district. We didn't use their space, but we established a collaboration where they send us they had like a little section with news. It was like an informative, like, typical, traditional. These are the news, and they send us this to us, and we use this in our podcast, and this was like a way of working together with a radio from other neighborhood. But regarding using the space, we've never
I think that
this.
The main challenge for us is that we want to be in this neighborhood, because 70% of what we talk about is related to the neighborhood, so that's a challenge per se. There's not even enough like available homes in the neighborhood, so I don't think there's a space we could use in that sense. But there's a project a bit far away from today, this very great house in the neighborhood, who is like
the press house.
The press house, and it's planned to be renovated and to include a studio. So that's our dream.
We have our we're waiting for this.
But this when they have to renovate the whole space, and it could take time. So I think that's because we want to really be near the neighborhood. It gets difficult.
I have a question. If you would have to bring out one mistake or a mess up that you made and what you learned from, would you be able to share it with all live streaming audiences and everyone? Like a nice F up, you know? You messed up and you learn from it.
I can think of one now. I don't know if that's terrible, but I think it was the first day I came here. I participated in a radio workshop, and then I decided to come here. And the first day I came here, I saw everybody quite nervous because they had to redo the whole last week show with the interview and the interviewee and everything because it was not
we didn't record it properly
through the microphones. So
yeah.
that was the first day I came here. But
yes, I think that we have faced many technical mistakes because we are not professionals. So sometimes we are with an interview and in the middle of the interview someone says, sorry, the microphone isn't working or something, and it's like, no, please, no.
Yeah.
And we have to start all over, and we have to do like the acting, like the program, no? It's the first time that we are doing it, but it's the second actually. So this is not maybe a mistake, but it's something that it has happened, and we try to learn every time, so it doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing. Alejandro is awesome. He doesn't make mistakes, but he allows the rest of us to try to learn the technical part.
Yeah.
So in that process, we mess up.
Yeah.
One more question.
Hello, thank you for the explanation already. Assuming I want to start something like this as well, what would be your best tips or tricks for me to say, really keep that in mind and keep notice of it when you try to start something like this? What would it be? What would be the main focus if I should start one?
I would say, I don't know if any of the team want to say this, I would say that you need to have your main goal, what you're trying to do with this, very clear in mind, and you have to share it with your colleagues because it's not easy, it's an effort. And when I got here, they had the equipment and everything, but I guess the beginning is even harder. So if you really know why you want to do this and you feel empowered or motivated by it, and people working with you too, I think that then you can find who can help us, who would be happy to participate in this, but I think have a clear goal. Otherwise, you will just say, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, and I think that you have to learn to trust a lot in your team, in the rest of the people that works with you, because you can do a program alone. Well, you can, but I think it's more fun with other people, and you have to rely on them. I think that that's very important. That if you have a colleague, I won't control what the other is doing. We trust each other, and if there's a problem, and it's okay, and we go on. But yeah, I think that trust is very, very important.
That's a nice message.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, one more question.
I'd like to know more about the radio drama. How you do it, how it works, because it seems very challenging.
Yeah.
It takes lots of time, and considering that you work on volunteer basis, that's lots of work on it. And I would like to know what is the educational value behind the radio drama, because you reproduce stories from citizens, but then I suppose that you change it to give some message beyond it, not just bring it to other people.
Yeah, of course. Juan Carlos is the artist behind this.
I think he should answer this question. ¿No? Juan Carlos, the microphone. Que nos preguntan por el radioteatro, qué significó, cómo fue el proceso y tal. No sé si quieres con el micrófono en español responder y les contamos. Sí, luego lo traducimos. We translate. No, the process. You were asking about the process of the radio.
Sí, como el valor educacional, como que te dieron las historias y que sí, como de alguna manera...
Realmente lo bonito de estos dos radioteatros es que no fue una idea original nuestra, sino que en el primero hablamos con la gent gran del barri, que nos explicaron sus anécdotas. Si quieres traducir.
Yeah, so the first one, he talked to the elder people from the neighborhood, because they were the ones able to say, 60 or 70 years ago, the neighborhood was like this, the schools were like this, the streets and everything, so it was there.
Y con esos recuerdos hicimos los guiones. O sea, eran guiones reales, todas las historias eran reales, simplemente que estaban un poco guionizadas, ¿no? Y con el segundo también fue un poquito lo mismo, ¿no? Nos explicaron sus experiencias y lo guionamos, ¿no? Guionizamos.
That's a hard word to say even in Spanish, so I don't know.
Yes, from the experience of these people, we made the scripts a bit of adding a bit of fiction maybe, but respecting the original story of these people.
Lo que queríamos era juntar gente tanto intergeneracional como de diferentes países, ¿no? En el primer radioteatro era gente mayor y niñas y niños.
Yeah, the idea was to work with older people and also with younger people and to try to make an intergenerational.
And in the second one was.
And el segundo fue sobre una historia de
sobre gente migrante que.
Yeah, the second one.
Que fueron ellas las que fueron ellos mismos quienes interpretaron el papel. No fuimos nosotros.
I forgot to say that, I think.
Yeah, the second one was migrant people that explained their history in the radio drama. This was very nice.
And they actually interpreted their own roles or characters.
Yeah, we have this. You can, no?
Yeah, it's in Spanish.
It's in Spanish, right. Yeah,
but if any of you speak the Spanish,
you can learn.
Yeah. I think they are very nice because you can really see there in just a few minutes many realities of the neighborhood represented, and you can empathize, like to be empathic with those stories. Sometimes you cannot really be on their foot, but that helps you.
Okay.
And let's be honest, if he speaks it, like we would all listen.
Yeah, obviously.
I was going to say, you can see he has this radio voice.
So guys, I think there will be more coming, but I think for the online audience we can say bye-bye.
Okay.
If you have questions that the online audience still has, leave them in the comments and we might get back to them later. But we will continue here from the Media and Information Literacy Study visit in Barcelona, Spain. And tomorrow, same time, 6 p.m. Central European time, we will be visiting another organization, Media Cat. So come join us live again tomorrow. But bye-bye for now from here.